try and see if I can pop YouTube up on here. Get the hang of this sometime. And I think we are live. I'm going to go and throw the link so I can actually see some comments. I think I did it. I think I'm frozen though. Well, I am on my screen anyways. It's both popping in. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Good. See, I don't think that I can see you. Are you on? Can you see like if we are? I guess we can get some feedback from people. How's it looking? Can you guys hear us? Can you see us? Because I am. Looks like if I jumped on YouTube, it looks like we're kind of messed up a little bit. All right, guys. Let's see. Yeah, those were freezing up. Looks like still pics. Fantastic. Yeah, it keeps bouncing back and forth. Like I said, I can see you on here, and it shows that we're live, but it's freezing up.
Did you post it in the group? I'm not even seeing it.
I didn't post it in the group yet. I just went into YouTube real quick, but I wonder if we need to start over. I don't know why it's freezing up. Let me see. Yeah, because I'm actually hardwired, so it should.
The picture doesn't look great.
No, it's not working, and I don't think that. I don't see you. Can you see you on there?
I can see me.
Oh, good. When you're on the YouTube.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not on YouTube.
I'm not seeing it. Okay. Very bright and jittery. All right, guys. Don't know why. I love that you guys gave thumbs up. You're so sweet for this horrible picture and all of these issues. Let's see. And do you have any suggestions for this?
I don't know what your problem is. What's your problem?
It's just, it's just like not, I can't see Cassie on here. And it's blurry. Oh, I'm fine now. Okay. That's good. You know what? Were you doing something with the internet? No downloading or anything?
May have just been a glitch.
Oh, now you look good. Yeah.
Oh, good. But now I don't see you, girl. You're on here. Like I see you in the broadcast, but I don't see you. Let me see. Oh, wait. Let me see if I can add you on here. No. I just went in and did the selected. So let me go and show and broadcast. It'll say present to everyone. Maybe it's just hearing. This is something I've not had to do before. Oh, well, then now I can just see you. Wait, let's see if it pops in. We'll wait and see how it does it on YouTube. She said, now we just need Cassie. Now I think we just have you. We do. Okay. Let me see if I can hear you. Why is it not showing us both at the same time? That's so weird. We can bounce back and forth when we're talking. I might just have to do that. Stop presenting, profile, hide from broadcast, eject, move. Okay. I didn't do anything different, but surprise, surprise. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for hanging out and working through this glitch with us. That's what I'll do. I guess we'll just have to pop it back and forth for a minute until I can either try and figure this out or whatever. So you're not sitting there while I'm talking. So we'll start presenting that. So, all right. So I think we're kind of good right now, and we are going to roll with what we got here. Looks like we might have to bounce back and forth between us, but at least you can hear us and you can see us, and that's what we'll do. So as you guys might have already seen, obviously, we have the beautiful Cassie Basket with us tonight. Amy had a last minute thing that came up and she could not join us. So Cassie decided to hop on in and do our show tonight. So welcome, Cassie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Busy. How are you?
Very, very good. Excited for the start of the new year and actually having kind of a little bit of a breather after, the crazy end of the year. So I know you were crazy busy at the end of the year as well. So how did that transition go for you from the, crazy December holidays, all that kind of stuff, and now January? What's that look like for you?
I think it was a little bit, I think it's always a little bit difficult. I have, I'm sure everybody kind of goes through that, you have you're on such a high going through Q4 and, getting a little bit closer and closer to Christmas. And then once Christmas gets there, then you just kind of take a nosedive and your sales go down. And then you start to get a little bit, not feeling so great about your business. And I don't think that there's obviously nothing wrong with that. You just had a great Q4, but it's always a little bit difficult when you go into January and things have kind of slowed down again and you're coming down from that high. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know what, the thing is like, I think that the tough part is you kind of already know. I can remember when, we first started in e-commerce and we ended up, oh, there we go. Maybe I can just click back and forth. We first started in e-commerce and it was probably a good, we didn't have the connections. We didn't have the Facebook groups. We didn't have that to, talk to anybody that had already been through something before. And so we didn't know if it was normal. We didn't know if we were just doing something wrong. And it probably took us a solid 3 years to understand like the seasons of what was going on. So, with this, I think this is a great discussion. And I think that it could be really powerful and helpful for people that have not, been in for a couple years or 3 years or whatever, and just really don't necessarily understand the cycle, because I can remember it being so difficult and stressful when we would hit those lows. And that's just how it is. If you look at any type of, sales, retail, anything, if you want to talk brick and mortar stores, it really doesn't matter. There is those ups and downs, and that's just totally natural. So with January, I know specifically with merch, there's been a lot of people, especially that have been around for a while, that have mentioned that, hey, you know what? January isn't all that bad. Stuff can like tank, kind of tank throughout the year, depending on some time periods. But, for the most part, I think for people that have been around for a few seasons, they're a little bit more stabilized than a lot of people. And I think that's one of the things people need to really take into account is kind of your portfolio of what you built up. Because I remember last year when it was just our first December, and then, we come out the other end, great December, and then it's, January, February, March. We had not been designing shirts prior. Like, we didn't have shirts up for those months because we had started in that fall. So we'd only been involved for a couple months. So it's like, oh my gosh, we had this great December. And then what happens? January, February, March. Well, the reason is because we didn't have any, not that many shirts available. So that's just kind of normal. Plus, it is a lesser of a time that you're going to get sales, again, universally, than December. So for us, it was kind of a blessing and a curse. It was great that we got to experience that Q4. I think get the belief, understand how powerful it could be. But then it was like, oh my gosh, like it was, dropped off a cliff pretty much for us. And again, I don't think that has to be typical forever. You're going to take a dip regardless. But once you're established, and you're building that portfolio and you get it seasoned, I don't think that it's going to be this entire falling off a cliff. But that's going to be something people are going to have to kind of work through. And, what are your suggestions, when it comes to that? And, especially with merch, because you've actually had a couple of Q4s with merch to be able to kind of see the trends and that type of thing.
Yeah, it gets easier. This will be my third or fourth actual December. I think third.
Third, I think.
Where it's so confusing because I started in the middle of Q4 a couple years back, but so it was really difficult the first year. It got a little bit easier last year, and now it seems like I was able to kind of jump on that train again. But I think the most difficult thing is that, there's a lot of selling seasons throughout the year, and we always get kind of so busy with focusing on what's going on in December that we forget that there are a bunch of holidays that kind of back to back to back come up at the beginning of the year, and a lot of people really aren't prepared for that. In fact, I just put in a bunch of orders for some products for Valentine's Day, and I'm like, oh gosh, why did I wait so long? But it's hard to get back. You give yourself a little bit of a break for Christmas, and then you give yourself a little bit more of a break for New Year's, and then for me, the kids were out of school for another week past that, and then it's just like it takes a little bit of time to get back in, but then you just kind of have to start evaluating your goals and try to set up your year and planning that out. So, I mean, that's really just what I do is start planning. I start planning my trips that I'm going to go on. We've been talking about going on the trips that we're going to be going on together in the next couple months. And so you just, you start planning out what your goals are for the year and then work towards those.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that again, it's almost kind of it can be a really good, healthy time, I think, mentally coming off of Q4, if you're prepared for that. If you're prepared for that slowdown, it doesn't stress you out. If you are okay with it, and just, like you said, start planning out the rest of the year. And I love, I've seen a lot of people that have talked, especially when they're discussing what they're doing designing shirts or anything. And it's, the suggestion is getting stuff up there 3 months in advance. And I've heard both. I've heard that, okay, well, yeah, that's fine, but you don't want to get it buried and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I really think that regardless, having a future vision and kind of laying out what you're doing and not just being off the cuff, that's going to help a lot. And when you're in there, like you said, there are so many holidays that are back to back to back. We had 0 Valentine's Day shirts up for last year. And reason being is we were suspended up until the end of January anyways. So we really didn't have that forward thinking. There was a freeze. How incredible. Let's talk about this real quick though. How incredible was that there wasn't a freeze this past
I know. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not really surprised because I feel like they're really getting things together, and I think that they were really, really focused on making this fourth quarter a lot better than last fourth quarter. I mean, I think that was a huge focus for them because not only did we lose money, but they lost money as well. So,
yeah,
it's kind of, it was a big deal for them to make sure that it ran smoothly, and they did amazing because we never had blackouts or any of the kind of negative stuff. So
really, I know it was incredible because just again, not just expecting that stuff's gonna happen and go wrong just because it's such an intense, crazy time. There's so much that you just cannot predict for. So yeah, big, shout out to them for, I'm sure they were busting their butts to make it happen. I do remember the little pop socket scare though a minute. I thought for sure it was just too perfect when it correlated with the discussion about, there being an issue with pop sockets or something like that, or the licensing or something. And then right away it was like, okay, everybody's pop sockets are disappearing. And we're like, oh, wow, what's going on? And then it was the same day it was fixed. So really, I think that was the only little hiccup. And that was like totally a non-thing. I think it just blew up because people were like really concerned. And it was just like perfect correlation with what was going on with that.
And pop sockets have been doing really well. Have you been doing well with pop sockets?
We don't have a lot of pop sockets up, but I've heard that we do sell some, but yeah, we never really put, when they did come out, we went through and we, put I don't even know how many we even had up, less than 200 for sure. So we went in and it was just at that time when we actually did get them, that we were like implementing a different type of plan. And then we started, okay, we'll do some pop sockets. And then I think that carried me right into like the China trip and stuff. So we weren't having, any of the changes. There was some really cool programs though. And I'm sure most everybody knows about them. Do you use, what's the program to be able to convert to the pop socket size? You guys know, shout it out so I can tell some people if they don't know. Do you know what it is?
I know what you're talking about. I
don't know Amy does.
I use a designer for all my stuff, so.
Yeah, I know Amy does. She's gonna tell me. So there's something resize or something. I'll try and watch. Yeah, I'll try and watch on here. That's an amazing merch resize. That's what Vale says. Thank you, Vale. That's what it is. So merch resize. So you guys go check that out because I do believe that it's pop sockets. You can do, your hoodies and stuff too. And I heard it's like really incredible. And it's a free tool. So that's awesome. Go check that out if you don't have enough pop sockets up. So yeah, so right now, so for your designer and stuff, are they continuing to work? And are you getting new stuff like uploaded? Are you building your portfolio or, what's going on with that right now?
I have a designer. She is working. We're not currently focused on merch. We're doing we do a lot of design work for my Amazon FBA business. So we've been working on that right now.
Yeah.
She took a long break for Christmas because she does the one time a year she has other things going on. So she took a break, which is good because I didn't have a lot going on for her. But it kind of set us back a little bit. So we're kind of just trying to get back into the swing of things now. So. Yeah.
Yeah. And for us, and I know too, deciding what to focus on is extremely important. And so same thing with us right now. And it's funny because I'm looking at like what we have going on and not necessarily looking at it as something that, I'm going to do everything on the daily. I do like total immersion type things as well. So like if I have something that I have like a solid foundation in, and, continuing to build on that daily, that consistent effort, I think is fantastic. However, like for instance, when there's something new, like right now, Cassie and I are doing, we both do have physical product businesses and we're doing a funnel challenge. And so it's just 30 days of basic total immersion. Like you can be, nothing. And funnel is just basically like marketing, sales pages, that type of thing. And so we're jumping into that because we're actually going to an event here coming up in mid-February. So it's going to be really nice to kind of have that force down our throat. It's been described as, a fire hose. So if any of you guys are out there that are getting any type of training, if it's design training, if you guys are jumping into a design program or anything that you're working on when it comes to, merch, don't get discouraged if you're starting out and you're like, again, fire hose. I've heard that so many times, but I think the reason why it is like that, if you just continue to push through, maybe initially you're like, oh my gosh, this is, absolutely crazy. But going through it and continue, you're going to build those bits and pieces and, put that all together. And so right now, even though we're going to be getting a ton of information, I thought it was a fantastic warm up because obviously going to an event, I want to be able to maximize that event. That's a big commitment. So, you know, if none of you guys have ever been to any type of an event, obviously highly suggest the merch one in Seattle in the fall. I don't know dates or details on that, but it was incredible. But if you guys, you know, have never been to an event like that, it's a big commitment. It's a time commitment. You know, obviously, you know, I have a family and a baby girl. Cassie has a family. She has a husband and 2 little boys. And so, you know, kind of figuring all that out, it's a big commitment, but we've done it. And that's actually how we've met a few times last year, because it's so important. And so anyways, that's something that we definitely want to maximize. And that's something that I've learned as well. So if you're going through anything like that, yeah, that's kind of the suggestion that I have about, you know, really making sure that you're going to be able to take in as much of that information as possible. I don't want to be there being like, oh, well, I don't really get that or understand that. So I was trying to like really, you know, prep for that and make sure that I'm committed over this next challenge again, so I can take in as much of that information as, you know,
and
I
that's
can.
really awesome. Yeah. But doing those challenges, I mean, I'm really glad. Actually, you're the one that invited me to that challenge, and I'm so glad you did, because I really was like having some mindset issues just even last week. Like I was really trying to focus on work and having a hard time kind of getting my brain back into work mode. And just even starting this challenge, you know, I've started listening to podcasts more, and it kind of just kind of gets your mind going again. And now, you know, my long list of things that I had planned to do before Christmas that I wasn't really all that excited about last week, I'm very excited about now. So
Awesome.
I encourage people to get involved with those types of things because, well, first of all, ClickFunnels is awesome, and I think it'll be really beneficial even for merch.
Yes.
So I see some
huge potential with merch and POD.
Yeah.
You know what? And here's the cool part about this, and this is what I love, is that you know, I'm not totally sure. Like if I were to do something and start building a funnel, it was really interesting. I had went to a workshop for funnels, and it was on physical products. And one of the things that they talked about was the different you know, sales pages, the different products that you're going to do. And one thing that was very highly suggested was actually part of the entire package. Like if you're going through and you're like, and for instance, let me try and share with you guys if I can explain it at a very simple, basic level for what a funnel is. If you guys have ever, you know, seen a Facebook ad or whatever, and you clicked on it and it took you to the product that you were looking at, and basically instead of taking you to a website where you have a lot of different options, it's guiding you through the buying process immediately. So basically, if you clicked on this ad, it's saying, okay, you liked whatever was in this ad, we want you to buy now. And then you're like, okay, yeah, I do want to buy this. For instance, I just did this on purpose. To kind of, they say like hack a funnel. So I went through and they were offering, you guys might have seen this, say if you've seen this, it's a planner. It's like a 90-day planner thingy, and they targeted me, surprise, surprise, who knows, maybe it's my verbiage or whatever, but they targeted me on Facebook. I was like, oh, I'm going to run through this funnel because I want to see what they have. And so they went through, and you get the planner and you just pay like the shipping, and then you could upgrade to a more beautiful planner for, you know, X amount of money after you've already put in your payment information. So basically it's just kind of like a one click. You know how Amazon has that one click buy type thing, just to make it easy for you. So just a one click upgrade. And then they're like, oh, and by the way, for $1, you can have access for the next week to our entire, you know, 90-day program. And it's just going to be for a week, but you have access to all the materials in there for $1. And then after that 7 days, because it's the trial, they'll automatically charge you, I don't remember what it was, like $29.99 or something after that 7 days. And so anyway, so that's basically what it is. It's that guided buying process. And one of the things that they were talking about, and one of the biggest pieces of a lot of the different funnels is like print on demand items, and like whether it's like t-shirts or whatever. And I thought that was incredibly like interesting, and it makes total sense, because if somebody's passionate about whatever it is, why not have, we are going to have, shirts within our store, not just like branded with our brand on it in the pet space, but it'll have, stuff that's like fun sayings that, pertain to probably closer to like rescue dog stuff or whatever, because that's a big chunk of our market. So just doing that and having just that piece of the business and that experience, because what we've done with merch, and then a lot of people are expanding to the other parts of print on demand. I just think that that's an awesome, I don't know, it's just like limitless, basically, when they have that. But I want to go back really quick to what you were saying about with the mindset thing, because when it was actually, so Amy Herberger suggested that, this kind of be the topic, and it hit me right away about, because one of the things that she said is that, this is kind of a make or break time for a lot of people that get into e-commerce, because again, you just came off of this big high, and of course you would hope that it would continue. But when it doesn't, it's like, okay, do you have what it takes to stick through it? And just like you're so you weren't going to quit. Like, obviously, let's not get that wrong. Of course, you have a booming business, but you even struggled with that mindset coming out of Q4 and trying to get into that groove. So people that haven't had maybe all of that, proof or success or, even seasonality probably struggle and have lack of confidence even a little bit more. Again, not knowing that this is just kind of a normal part of the process. And when we're doing this challenge, it instantly clicked with me for that basically what they're doing this entire first week is all mindset stuff. You guys, any high level event or training or whatever that I have done, that's what it starts with, because they know if you don't get that right, it doesn't matter what they teach you. It does not matter this stuff. And that's the same thing with merch, you guys. Like, if you don't get that piece of the puzzle, then you could be the best designer. You could be, the best at figuring out keywords, the best at finding trends or whatever. But when those times hit to where you're either doubting yourself or you're, hitting those struggles, if you are not realizing that, hey, this is part of the process, just keep going, because, you're going to build up, and it's failure and whatever is just part of the journey to success. You can't realize that, then it's going to be really, really difficult. So I was like, I loved it. And I think that everybody, the same thing, like that's one of the reasons why I talk about it so much, is because, again, all the how-tos, all the skills, all the tactics, all that kind of stuff is very learnable. And for the most part, it's pretty much out there for free. I mean, everything pretty much is online, so there's not much excuses, but it's that mindset for sure. And like, I think you just hit the nail right on the head. And I love that you even said, that's, oh my gosh, like I absolutely need this. So you would think, because you can get that's general kind of entrepreneur stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be specific to funnels, but I love that they realize that they look back on their journey of this massive success that they have now, and they're like, how did I get here? Did I get here because I was able to, create some websites or find a good product or have a good design or this and that? That's not what got me here. That's not what people think about it. It's that big struggle that they had to go through, that they had to push through, the lessons that they learned that drove them to that next success. So yeah, I thought that was very, very cool. So let's see what we got now, since I am actually going to pay attention a little bit to the chat over here. Hello, friends. Okay, we got Amy Herberger, Tara, Mr. RJ Martinez hopped on here. Vale, Ryan, Laura. Let's see. Okay, I don't really have much on here except for the people that were giving us our they were going through and telling us that we weren't good in the beginning.
Thanks.
So no questions, questions yet. Yeah, so excuse me.
But yeah, so I'm really excited for this upcoming year and all the projects that I have planned for myself. And there's so many holidays that are coming up that, if you haven't been in merch very long, we have, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day is huge, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Like, these are all really, really big holidays that are coming up, and they come up fast because like one after another after another. So just, keep get your calendar out and start planning and scheduling out your year and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and it'll make a difference.
Yeah.
It'll make a world of difference.
Totally. Yeah, so I know that Amy had put on here as well. We're going to do some question and answer stuff. So like I said, I know I'm usually pretty bad at paying attention to that, but I'm going to try and do my best to look at that. So if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat because I do have it up for once. Trying to think of what else we have going on here. I mean, you know, for, again, just kind of looking at like the year, again, I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you with going through and just planning things out. And I like now, like I said before, January would be, you know, pretty stressful for me. But now it's kind of like a really good decompressor from everything that happened that past, you know, Q4 holidays, and then just planning out, like you said, planning out the rest of the year. And it feels really, really good to kind of get that, kind of look at the big vision and see what we're going to be, you know, running at this year. And, you know, it's awesome. I see a lot of people that are really looking into doing some branding with their shirts and really investing in that. And I think for merch, that is one really, really smart thing to do. I think that, you know, and it's funny because when people are saying branding, I think there's a couple of different, you know, ways that they are talking about it. Like some people are just looking at it like, okay, I'm going to trademark a brand and then I'm going to put my t-shirts under that, which again, that's totally fine because merch, you can have a lot of different types of shirts and whatever. And you don't really have to have all of that cohesive of, I guess if you want to call it a niche or a feel or whatever, that's totally cool. Or there's some people that are looking into like, my brand is going to be, if you want, whatever, a dog brand. And they're just going to go really hard and niche all of that out. And then they have plans to do, okay, we have Etsy, we're going to be doing a Shopify store. And everything that comes with that is a lot of kind of what we're talking about. You know, they could choose to do funnels or they can choose to do, you know, driving traffic. And I really think that getting a good foundation, if you're doing merch right now and you haven't done that other stuff before, getting a really good foundation with merch first is going to be important because I feel like it helps you understand the market pretty well. And I think that different marketplaces have different customers, have different desires and whatever that they want. But for the most part, I think you're going to get a lot of great feedback from selling on merch, and it doesn't cost anything. So the risk is very, very low versus going into, you know, those other platforms out the gate. I mean, even Etsy isn't that much, but even with Etsy, you know, it's a different personality, a different type of platform, and you're going to be basically paying, for, you know, per listing. And then, you know, Shopify has like the monthly charges and stuff like that. So, sorry. But yeah, so what do you think about like the other platforms and that type of stuff with adding things on or creating a brand?
Well, actually, funny you should say that. I have a separate, I guess, brand, you can call it, that I've been working on through Facebook and Instagram. And I think that I've kind of found an idea to get an Etsy store started that would go well with the social media that I've already built. So that's probably going to be my focus for a little. We've actually already started. My husband and I print our own mugs. So we've started printing some mugs that's very specific to this brand. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Well, and I love too, one of the things that you had said, and it kind of sounded like you were like, oh, wow, well, it's surprising because like it kind of, you did it in the right order, but it didn't sound like it was like totally intentional. Like you said, you have like, yeah, but that's the right order. You are actually, and I'm saying this when you know that you're going to be in the business and you have a direction, and you know what, you might not have like the specific products, so there's specific shirts, there's specific designs, but you know, like I'm going to build an audience and I'm going to work on that through social media. And then you can feel out your audience and figure out what they want. Because the thing is getting a product and then being like, okay, I have this product and now I'm going to try and, you know, throw it at a target audience that I think it would work for. It doesn't work as well, you know, so doing it the other way around to where you think, and this is when, and I love, we had an interview with, I hope I pronounce his name correctly, Adam Gubella, I think, T-shirt fella. Is that how you say it? Adam Gubella? The T-shirt fella. Sure. So I hope that I am saying that accurately because he was freaking awesome. And what, you know, it was very evident that he's like, you know what, he designs totally for the customer in mind, not even for, he's a designer, so he's not even designing to please, you know, and when I say customer, I mean the end customer, not his customer of the person that's purchasing it to sell on their account. And of course, he'll accommodate if necessary, but I love that he was so clear and confident with saying, hey, the reason why I've been so successful and the reason why I'm good with shirts is because I designed these shirts for the people that are going to wear them. Yeah. So, hey there, Matt from Merch Elephant. So, I mean, I just think that that is, it's kind of interesting because you would think that that's kind of like, whatever, sales 101 type thing, like, especially in our space, yeah. But it's not, I mean, it's just not, there's so much going on and you're trying to learn so much that it's not common sense. I mean, that's not how we went about it. That's not how we started. So I just think that's a solid tip for people. Regardless, you don't have to take it to the point initially where you are building, you know, a social media audience, but why not? For the most part, it's free. You can start doing that, start learning it, whatever. So then start getting feedback from your audience, and then deliver them some awesome products that you know that they're going to be interested in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've heard this expression so many times. I literally am building the plane as I'm flying. Like, yeah. we're building things as we go, and it happens very fast. And I come up with ideas, and I'll have it executed within a week. And it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But usually, it's those really, really quick decisions where I really jump on things that they tend to work out the best, because obviously there's something that told me to do that. You know, there was some indication or indicator somewhere that I saw, and it kind of just all came together. So we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, I full-heartedly believe in branding, and I've been working towards that for a little bit over a year now. So
awesome. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's something that I just brought that up. And I think before Matt even got on here, and it's kind of who I was, you know, kind of referencing, because I know that's something that they're working on, you know, very intently for, you know, this year. And I think that's awesome. And just to think, I mean, they had been, you know, involved for just about a year and a half now. So, and again, working basically full-time, giving an all-in effort between, you know, him and his wife, Erin. And so it's not like they decided out the gate just to do this right away, but, you know, pushing and challenging themselves and knowing that they're committed to, you know, the space and, you know, what they want to do to actually grow that. And I think that is really, really smart once you kind of get a grip on the market to go ahead and work and focus on building a brand. I think that's big time going to be very, very helpful, you know, with print on demand.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Well, let's see. What else do we have on here? Trying to think of what else starting of the year. I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of crazy activities that are going on.
Those that you and I are both headed to Miami in a couple weeks for the 10X conference, and I know it's super last minute, but anybody that might be interested in going, the tickets are ridiculously cheap to go to this event. And there are amazing speakers this year. So I really, really highly recommend that if you're in the Florida area and you can get there, go. I'm really excited for it. And actually, my husband's going, and this will be like the first conference that he doesn't just come to like hang out. He's going to sit through the actual conference and be a part of it. So I'm really excited about that.
I think he's really going to enjoy that. So, yeah, it's interesting that and it's funny, you guys are to think like, oh, wow, wait, we're just talking about going to, funnel hackers and then, going to, 10X. There'll be other stuff that we, happen to do stuff around, this year as well. And we just really just got to know each other this past year. And it's been like a couple of different events that we've been to. And literally, we're pretty good at keeping our like head down. It's not like we're in like chats nonstop or whatever, but like we check into each other every once be like, oh, hey, you alive? Like it was so random. Like even with like the phone thing, I'm like, hey, might be a good warm up. Here you go. Or just kind of think about that. Cause when you're doing, you have so much going on that you have to stay focused. But I love too, like you said, with the 10X event, it is heavily mindset. There's a lot. We went last year. Tickets, by the way, last year, you guys, were $500 a piece. It was in Vegas, and that was the lowest that they had. And so this year, I think they were 95. Are they like at 125 now?
127 for executive seating, which is where my husband and I are sitting, and we paid $200 a piece for them on Black Friday.
Okay.
So tickets are super, super, super cheap right now.
Yeah, because he's filling, he has seats for the entire Marlins Stadium down in Miami.
Yeah.
And and it's a full 3-day event. Mm-hmm. So it's just like the value is insane. I would have to even think, I don't even recall who the speakers are. Oh yeah, John put that we've traveled halfway around the world together. Yeah. We went to China. We went to China with a group together. It's awesome. But yeah, so my husband said, one speaker is worth that alone. And if any type of conference that you're going to, pretty much you're paying $500 a pop for tickets. Yeah. So it is an insane value. This is going to be an event where they're going to, every single speaker is probably going to try and sell you whatever they want to sell you. But it is what it is. The value that you get out of it is a lot. And I think for me, there's the caliber of speakers are incredible. And what it does is it really shined a light on some people that I was interested in following throughout the year. So it's not like I went in and I bought all their stuff. Like a lot of this stuff, we've talked about this, a lot of stuff with people, you can find this stuff for free. People have podcasts. So it's like, oh my gosh, I heard this speaker. It was awesome. And then, you can go and you can listen to the podcast. Those types of things also will help you through those down times. So recognizing those people that you resonate with, I thought that was a huge value there. And again, it just kind of helps to direct you. When John and I were there, and it was fantastic for us to both be there. So I'm glad both you and Bobby are going to be there together, because the last thing you want to do is you go and there's a lot of stuff that's just like life in general as well. So the last thing that you want to do is you go and you're going to come back and you're going to be like all crazy, and Bobby's going to be like, what the heck is up with this girl? So both of you guys going and getting amped up and kind of like collaborating on what you want to do together is big.
Yeah, exactly. And we're trying to kind of get him, we're starting a new business together, the two of us. And so I think that this is a good sort of transition for him to get his headspace ready to really jump into that this year, because I think this year is probably going to be the year when we're both full-time, like you and John. So yeah, we'll see, but it should be fun. I think it'll be fun. I know that there's, besides Grant Cardone, Steve Harvey is going to be there, John Maxwell, Bethany Frankel is talking, Russell Brunson, Ty Lopez. I don't know if you know him, but Bobby's followed Ty Lopez, so he's excited to hear him speak. Damon John. So a lot of really big entrepreneurs are going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, it was interesting because when we were there, there was a good amount of the speakers that you just said that were there last year. And then there's some new ones this year as well. But it was really one of the conferences that, you know, like, I mean, when you go to some of the ones where you're just getting information overloaded and there's a lot of how-to, which I appreciate it. That's what you're going there for. This one was so broad and just continued to, like, I don't know, hit us in every different way. And John and I are very different, but like we didn't want to miss anything. Like we actually wanted to be in there. We weren't looking like, oh my gosh, we have 2 more speakers. Like sometimes that's how it is, just because it's the days are very, very long. But it was just so energizing. It was so exciting. You know, what each of these people brought out was just incredible. And it is perfect timing for, again, getting your headset, getting your mind right, you know, for the rest of the year. So
exactly.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Well, walking through. Ooh, Ryan from the Philippines. Hello there. I think Matt, it is Super Bowl weekend, and we had actually committed prior to knowing that the last day is actually going to probably butt up right before. I think we're going to be on the plane. John and I are going to be on the plane flying home for the Super Bowl. So that's,
see, we decided we're going to leave it.
That's what it is. I know.
We're going to skip the last day. But flights in and out of Miami were really difficult. So.
I know. It wasn't. And I mean, we waited a little while to do that. So usually I get my stuff together a little bit earlier. So, but yeah, so I think that is one of the best suggestions is definitely figure out, you know, some sort of, I've heard a lot of people talking about this, like they've had mentors and their mentor, they don't even know the person specifically, but there's so much amazing, awesome, great content online that you can take in. So if you can't get to, you know, an event right now, you know, you're going to have to figure out how you can, you know, train your brain, get your mindset right to be able to take on those ups and downs. And I think that we're kind of through it. And for us, it's funny because I feel like, again, January isn't all of that bad. It's right around like taxes, right around when people are doing their taxes. Like, it's not very long, but it's funny. You're like, oh my gosh, like, is this really that big of a thing? Is everybody legit doing their taxes being like, I can't spend any money right now? Like, you didn't know this for the entire year. Like, you're just like, oh crap, my taxes are due on April 15th. So now I'm living in a hole doing my taxes and realizing that I don't have any money, or I have to wait until my tax return comes in. And then once those start flowing, people start spending
money on a good accountant. Definitely have a good accountant. Huge advice.
Big time, you guys. Because here's the thing is I would never, just like, and I know Amy Herberger is so like on point about this. We're not ever going to give any tax advice. Like, that's just how it is. First of all, we're in different states. Second of all, every person's situation is totally specific. And so giving blanket advice doesn't make sense. That's why there are professionals that go to school for a very long time, that know the tax laws, that are always changing. So really, this is not, you know, it doesn't make sense for us to blanket talk up to anybody about this. But one thing, yes, find a tax professional. I don't care. Like, it's been worth it's. We started this, gosh, pretty much right when we started doing stuff online, because we're like, I have no clue how we're supposed to do this. And sure, could we figure out maybe like our basic taxes in the beginning? Maybe. I guarantee you we would have paid more, or we wouldn't have got as much money back, or yeah, we would have paid more at that point. But anyways, like that's just, I know for a fact then what it costs for us to have a good accountant. And hopefully you can find one that's willing to kind of like educate you a little bit along the process. Obviously, they don't have a lot of time to spend with you, but this is a big thing. We're around tax time. Get a good attack. Just ask on social media. Ask on Facebook. Be like, hey, who do you suggest? I'm sure people will start throwing, you know, names at you. And like our guy that we've been with, John used to be a financial advisor, and everybody in his office would go, you know, to this guy. And so we started going to him, and literally, if you do not call in the first week, you're filing an extension because he's already booked up. like the day that I called, she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I'm so glad you called. She's like, because guess what? She's like, today we will be booked up and you would have had to do an extension. And I'm like, she goes, people are going to be swearing at me. I'm like, they should know by now. Like they should just know that that's just how it is. So yeah, thank goodness. I'm glad that we got in. We've never had to do extensions. And usually we do like beginning of March-ish, but yeah, we're beginning, I think the first week in April now is what maybe even the second week. Regardless, we're in before the deadline, but I don't even like having more time to do them. I just like having it done and over with and behind us, but because we always have to, I mean, we don't get refunds anyways.
Oh no, never. I've been sending in my tax money all year. So, they got a good chunk for me today, actually. So.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, don't mess around with that, guys. It's not, you know what, and it's not that expensive. And again, I would almost, even people that have W-2s, like there's just so many things that a good tax person can do that I have no doubt would actually get you more back than what their fee is. You know, it really should not be, you know, that much. So even, you know, I would think kind of like basic taxes is right around anywhere from $100, $150 if they're going to go through and do some additional stuff with like your merch account, like say you're an employee or whatever, and then they're going to do, you know, taxes with your merch, because there's going to be things that you're not even thinking about. They go through and they're going to ask you like, hey, you know, what do you use for this business? Or they should, again, you know, kind of get somebody that's a good referral. But
the laws change every year, I mean, especially in the last couple of years, the laws have changed quite a bit. So you need somebody that's going to be really know what's going on and paying attention to all the changes that are happening. So yeah,
absolutely. And then you definitely don't want to mess it up yourself. That is for sure. So, all right, guys, on that, I think that was a solid suggestion right there. And then let's see what we got.
You know what, Tara is asking about time management help, and I think you're probably way more qualified.
You know, I think a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit, especially you're working. I think, you know, when you're working full time from home, if you're doing anything basically by yourself, like, I don't know. And I know that it's always a work in progress for sure. But I think that that's something that people don't give themselves enough credit for. I think that you probably do a lot better than you think, but it's a struggle. It's kind of like that constant, because with me, it's kind of like the same thing. Like I have like my set plan and like right now. So for instance, I'll share something that I kind of stumbled across, and maybe I'm like the last to know. I was like, this seems so basic to me. But I actually just converted my process of like scheduling out my days and my weeks from my big bulky binder that I've been using for, you know, 3-4 years, just because it was something that was really encouraged for me to do. Like, write down your stuff. It's really important if you write it down, you know, don't just do stuff electronically and blah, blah, blah. For some reason that's, you know, important. Well, right now we're not just working with myself and John, we actually have somebody else that's working with us. And for us to actually have, like, I'm not going to see their schedule, but it was kind of the same thing. I was talking with her about the best way to be able to kind of work on your own, because she doesn't, you know, come in and have a schedule and set tasks. Like she's basically virtual. I mean, she's in I know her, and, you know, we do meet occasionally, but she's doing these tasks at home on her own time. That's how I want it. I believe that she's responsible enough to do that, dedicated enough and everything. So we talked a little bit about how she should be able to, you know, kind of structure out her day. And I do suggest using, number one, using Google Calendar, because you can get that, you know, on your phone. You can connect calendars. You can have, you know, your family stuff in one color. You have if you have your spouse, you know, or significant other's schedule there. You can have your kids' stuff there. I put everything that actually has to be scheduled, like an appointment or whatever, blocked off. That is on our Google Calendar. And again, that goes to all of our devices. I can see it on my computer. It's on my phone, whatever. And it all syncs real time. Now, I just stumbled upon, I was looking actually for an app that I'm like, okay, what do we, like a scheduling app? What are we going to do? Like daily schedule, whatever. Google Sheets has templates, and they're awesome. They have a daily, I think it's called daily schedule, but it actually shows up as a week. and it goes through, like, if you just have a regular planner and it goes through, I actually adjusted the time because I think it went from like 8 until maybe 8 till 8. And I was like, that's not enough time. So I went 6 to 10 because I'm like, there's stuff that I put like right now, like 9:15. Like I'm going to put something in my calendar. So anyways, so I adjusted it because it's totally editable. And I can actually have, so it's real time. So like each of us have our own sheet. John has a sheet. I have a sheet. Sam has a sheet. And so each week, because this is how I run it. Like we look at big picture and then we drill it down. But on a weekly basis, because our schedule is all over the place, and I'm sure maybe this is something that people are hung up on. If your schedule's all over the place, you need to be able to look at your week and kind of envision what you're realistically going to be able to do that week. The last thing I want to do, like for instance, we have trips coming up. I am not going to be, doing the exact same workload on that week when I'm traveling that I normally would when I'm not traveling, or if I have heavy appointments on one week or whatever. So if I would totally jack myself up, if I just had a list and I just looked at my list and I'm like, okay, it's Monday. Here's my list for the week. I'm just going to start tackling it. Well, I'm not going to really feel all that accomplished because stuff's going to get in the way. I'm going to look, and at the end of the day, I still have a long list that's just going to continue to keep growing. So if I look at my week and I'm like, okay, block off everything that needs to be blocked off. And then I look and see what's available. And then I go through minimum. Usually it's just the night before. So I don't fill out my entire week for task purposes. It's just for like what's scheduled in there. And then the night before, I'll go in and fill out my day. And I'll look at my list of what I want to do that week, and I'll prioritize and say, okay, these are the things that are most important that I want to get done, or that have a deadline like earlier in the week, and I need to get those done. And then I'll start blocking them in and plugging them in around all the stuff that I already have scheduled. And so that has been incredible. I mean, it even has like a little task option down the side. And so now it's just really great because we can just shoot each other stuff that needs to get done. And then we just decide, okay, well, boom, I'm going to do this here. So I love that. It's been, we're just getting in the groove with it, but I think that is really, really helpful with just, again, being able to have that clear vision of what you have available to be able to attack your day, and not feel like you're just overloaded because that you have this never ending list, because we always will. And
don't feel bad about turning off notifications, because that will throw a wrench in your day so fast. Something comes up, the pop sockets disappear. Everybody's talking about. But I mean, I haven't done this in a long time, but for a couple hours, I'll turn off everything and just focus, and not, because all the pinging gets so distracting. So I think that's really helpful too, when you have a clear plan that things that you want to accomplish for the day, to get rid of all the distractions, because we have so many of them with Facebook and YouTube, and my phone's constantly going off.
And that does take discipline. For some reason, it's not easy. And I mean, I tell you, I have 2 screens up, and there's some times where I have my work, and then I have my Slack channel, and then I have my Messenger that and like if something else, I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle of okay, I'm in the middle of this. Mm-hmm. So I definitely do have to be like, and I'll notice and I'll catch myself, and I'm like, X out of Facebook, X out of this stuff. Okay, I'm gone. And so, it's just, again, that's just part of the process. And what I like for people to understand is, again, just like with all of it, it is a process, you guys. Like, it's not, all of the stuff I speak at, like, I catch myself doing things all the time. And I think that I continue to get better at it. And I've been working at it for a long time. But that's really all. I mean, human nature is trying to keep you in your comfort zone, in the same stuff that you've been doing, your same habits. And you know what they've actually shown? That your notifications actually give you like a little bit of an endorphin.
Yeah. Like it makes you happy.
Yeah, like exactly.
Somebody commented on a post or something.
Yeah, like, yeah, I gotta like, or whatever. Like just that notification actually gives you a little shot of, whatever happiness stuff. So anyways, all right. I think we can kind of like wrap it up with that, guys. And thank you so much for joining us. We are on here for, been on here for the past hour. it's so, and I'm very, very thankful for you, Cassie, for hopping on here because John said he wasn't going to do this 2 weeks in a row. So I was kind of having to do it solo. And it's so much better being able to pop on with another awesome chick and do this. So thank you for coming on. And everybody else, thank you for stopping by. We had a great time. And I hope you guys are ramping up your year and plotting it out and being confident in, you know, what you're going to do. Invest in yourself. Make a plan, get a good CPA, and check out that Google Sheets template. I'm gonna rock your world. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful night. Thanks for stopping by, and we should be seeing y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.